There's that circle. What's up? We are live. We are live. We are live. I am so excited, guys. I'm so excited. I'm on here with Emmett Williams and the beautiful Angie White. We're on here, Emmett Williams. You guys, I'm sure you do know him. He has his magazine, and she's one of the photographers on the magazine. So I'm so blessed to have them on here. These people are, look, I tried to be colorful. I've actually wore this before, but I said, you know what? This is like the perfect dress or shirt, because you guys can't see the dress part, but this is the perfect shirt for me to wear because I want it to be colorful, because the magazine is gorgeous. It's colorful, it's very artsy, and I'm excited. We're live! I'm going to start with Emmett. Emmett, if you could take your mic off for a second. I'm going to start with you. I'm going to let you introduce yourself to these people. What's up? Go ahead.
Well, I'm Emmett Williams. I'm an artist, and I started this magazine named after myself, Emmett Magazine, EM. I came across Angie White's photos on Instagram earlier this summer, and they dealt with peaceful protest, and I thought my magazine would be a good outlet for her photos to be featured in. And then the more I saw, I thought, maybe an entire issue just devoted to capturing those images of peaceful protesters in DC, Maryland, Virginia, and the other places where she also participates in the protest too. Makes herself up. She protests a lot.
You know what? And I had the pleasure to talk to her a little bit briefly before this interview. She is a very charismatic person, full of energy. I love your hair. I love the colors and everything. So Angie, if you could do me a favor, unmute your mic and tell folks about who you are. I think we might be okay. There's a little echo, but I think we can get through all of this.
Well, good evening, everybody. My name is Angie White, and I'm a California girl. I'm originally from North Hollywood, California, and my family's there now. And as a matter of fact, I'll be there tomorrow, coming home. And I did 24 years in the Army. I did 2 wars. I'm retired. I retired and I moved up to the DC area where I work now for the government. I don't want to say what agency because y'all will look at me crazy, but I've always, plus, we don't want to let the clearance lapse. But even with my clearance, I still protest. I've always been about Black Lives Matter. My family comes from a family that fights. My mom, civil rights, women's rights. My father got arrested for civil rights. My aunt. You guys want to hear something funny, even though I'm supposed to be talking about me, but my aunt got arrested in Mississippi. So the family's from Memphis, Tennessee. She got arrested in Mississippi, and you know who bailed her out was Tony Bennett. The singer, little known Black history fact, that he went to Mississippi and bailed out 40 civil rights people that were in jail in Mississippi for protesting.
That's awesome.
So my great-grandfather, his name is Andrew White, we still have his poll tax. So for people that don't know what that means when Black people wanted to vote, they had to pay a tax. And we still have the original receipt from 1937 in Memphis that he paid a poll tax. So I come by it naturally. But I'm single. I'm single. I have nieces.
Yeah, she's single and she's beautiful. She's beautiful. I want to get back to you, Angie, because I love your story. I love the fact that you're out there protesting. Black Lives Matter is a very important issue, especially over what's going on in the last couple of years with police brutality and all of that stuff. It's just, I love to talk to people who are involved with it, who are wanting to make a difference. And I see that you're doing it through your art. So I want to talk a little bit more about it. But I do want to introduce real fast to people. I want Emmett to tell us a little bit about his magazine, what it's about, how'd you come up even doing this magazine in the first place. Can you go ahead and tell us that?
Originally, I thought, I would just create this magazine to just promote my own art. But I'm just not the type of person that just, sit around talking about myself all day or writing about myself only all day. I would rather talk about, my stuff and other people's stuff because we all inspire each other. Mm-hmm. So artists, photographers, musicians, we just all play off of our own mutual art forms. And then, one thing inspires another thing. It's like you're not going to make the art and then not, figure out how to take pictures of it, so that you can share it. So you need to know more than one thing. And then just say, photographers, they need somebody to write about their stuff also. And then, I'm a visual person, as well. So, I was in the same boat. And the problem is that, people don't know you, and somebody needs to tell them your story and tell them why you do what you do. And the best person, is always going to be you at first. So the sooner you start learning how to do it, the more people are going to become informed, and the more they're going to, seek you out, because they'll know something, once you put it down in the written word, and translate, what you're doing and why you're doing it to them. And then one thing sort of leads to another. So I start, putting my stuff in there, and then I meet somebody else, and then they're doing something and nobody's covering them, and that's, another thing, I used to have a whole lot of press coverage, it slowly built, one person wrote something and then another person, and then everybody wants to write, and then, it's like, what do you do when they stop? Then that becomes a problem. It's like you relocate, so I relocated somewhere else. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? I'm going to start all over again. But I didn't have, like the same venues that I had here in North Carolina, so it was going to be a long, involved process, and let's just say when I started in North Carolina, it took like, 4 or 5 years. Stuff started, happening immediately, but then it built quickly. In the process, that got me to, point, from A to B to Z, was, not turning down any opportunities. And people would come to me advice, just say artists that saw my stuff in the newspaper all the time. And they're like, how'd you do this? How do you, it was like one thing at a time. Mm-hmm. But, it's like nobody was laying this out for them. It's like they would all, like come in person to the studio or send me messages, how do I get seen? How do I get noticed? And I'm like, why don't I just write it down for everybody to see, and then they can just, pass it on, or, better yet, build a website, and that, again, was another process that I had to learn. It's like every step that I took to get to the point of actually publishing something, it's like something else needed to happen, so it's like I would have to learn a new skill, and everything combined, from the website to, writing, it's like, just take the first step, and then everything sort of seems to come naturally after that, because other opportunities pop up, and then, it's like, oh, who's going to write this for me? It's like, let me, write out what I need and see if I can find a writer. So I have friends that are writers, but it's like, they work for newspapers or what have you. But, I ended up hiring some of them to write stories. But what makes it easier was when I had somebody with something to say. And so I was like, let me talk to somebody with somebody, because I'm not, like a professional writer. So I was like, let me find somebody that has a story to tell and let them tell it. And then I'll just interject, and stuff that I personally want to know that I find interesting. It's like, if nobody's written anything, let me be the first to test this out and see what happens. So that's where I am right now. Let's just say 10 years ago, I just focused on paintings. And, I guess I lucked out, or maybe, preparedness was at work, and somebody was there to cover me whenever I did something, but then I'm at the point where, it's like every time I want to do something new, I was asking permission. It's like I hadn't done sculpture, so I would talk to 99 sculptors. Is it okay to do this? Is it okay to do that? And writers, it's like they would just critique my writing. Like, the more important thing is the story. What do you have to say? And I wanted to hear it in the artist's own voice, and not just frilly words, which is nice, that's fine. But if you really have something to share with the world, you just need to start saying it. Start writing stuff down, start trying new things. It's like, photographer, you need somebody to write about your work, start writing, why do you do it? Put that in words and just look at it before you show it to anybody, and then just show it to a few people, whatever it is that's new, try it.
Awesome.
It's like I realized, it's not that many people really know what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, stop asking for permission. Don't worry about the critiques. Important thing is to share what you want to share, and teach somebody else, how to get to the next step.
Awesome. Which brings us to Angie. I love the way the picture and everything. I love the art that you bring, Angie, to the table. I love it. I love the creativity. I love the message that you bring through your art. And I love the fact that you collaborate with people, Angie. And we touched on it just a little bit on your protesting and why you did that. But could you explain to us a little bit in your art, like what is each art piece says? What does it mean?
For me, with the protest, it just was the emotion. But if you look at my other pictures, I just think the creative side of me has been coming out. And I think I put it in a box for so long, and Emmett kept encouraging me, like, oh, and then the COVID kind of really just let me bloom. And I think I used to admire photographers, but I've always got my camera. In fact, like, I sleep with my camera. So a lot, like, my camera's pretty much in arm's reach. But I hey, my sister's on. Hey, sister. I saw my sister and niece. Oh, sorry. I gotta say hi to my nieces and sister. So the avant-garde, as Emmett calls it, is one day I just started putting on makeup and hair, and I always want an Afrocentric vibe, and I just started creating. So it just came, and it was fun, and I like colors. So we did talk about doing a photo shoot, y'all. But so we got to have colors. For me, it's colors, and I see the beauty in you, and that's my motto. I see the beauty that you don't see, because so many women and men doubt themselves, but I see the beauty in them, and I don't edit well. I'm not a good editor, so what you see is what you get. Kind of with my pictures, I'm kind of raw. Lester Harvey would kill me for that, but he's my mentor. He's my photography mentor. I got like 4 or 5 photography mentors. They're awesome. So
yeah,
but a lot of people are self-trained, and this is a really hard business to get into. I had no idea that so many people admire your pictures, but they don't want to pay you for your creativity and your artwork and your process. And I don't think they understand what goes into it. It is some work. It is some work. You might take 400 pictures to get one picture, but I agree with Emmett. Try it. All I can do is it'd be an ugly picture. So, and who's it ugly to, me or you? Because people were laughing at me originally when I would start doing the hair and makeup and stuff, because I wasn't a woman who wears a lot of makeup. So I could do makeup, but I didn't do it good. And I used to say, I wish I had a good drag queen, because they do phenomenal makeup. So, the drag queen was great makeup. So I've been trying to learn makeup because I said, I'm a woman, I'm a photographer. I learn makeup. But I would love to collaborate with a makeup artist and a hair artist, because I want to take photography to the next level. But I can create stuff. I can create looks. I make stuff. I make the necklaces. I make the headpieces that you see. I just sit down and idea hits me and I just start creating. So I guess it just comes from within. And it's funny what you hide. Because I've been taking pictures for years. I love photography. And all my friends will tell you, yes. Even during wartime, I had a disc camera. That is so old. People don't even, you know what a disc camera is? A little camera that used to be on a disc film. And it took about 18 pictures, and it was like old Kodak. And I had this old thing, and I took it to war with me. So that I've always loved taking pictures. There's certain things I don't like taking pictures of, but like certain times you just don't do it.
Well, something, okay, good. To me, I have a cousin. She was no makeup at all. She is the best makeup artist, because like what she was thinking, she looks at people like canvases. And Emmett, I'm sorry, I'm going to turn your mic off just for a second, because I hear a little echo.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you can.
You want me to mute it? Or?
Yeah, if you can mute it just for a second, and then when you're ready to talk, unmute it. I hear like a little echo. But can you guys hear me? Can everybody hear me? You're good? Okay, so I have a cousin, and she wears no makeup. She never wore makeup. She's beautiful like yourself. She doesn't need to wear any makeup. And she can go and she can look at a face, and she can just she does miracles. Like, she did my makeup one time for a photo shoot. I look like a completely different person because sister worked me over, okay? She worked me over. And this question goes to Emmett. One of the things that I was reading your magazine, I was seeing what you did, and you have mentioned that what you do is your magazine becomes not necessarily about yourself, but it becomes about the people who you find interesting. How do you go through the process of finding beautiful people like Angie? How do you do that?
Well, I saw her work on Instagram, and there was just the quality. That's the thing that attracts me to anything is the quality of the images. But normally it's like I'm not looking for somebody to interview. Something attracts my attention, and then I want to find out more about the work. So I'll talk to the person. And then if what they tell me matches what they're doing, then I'm like, this could be a good interview. So I'll just talk to them, for a half an hour, 40 minutes, whatever. And then see, if I could piece together something that will work well in print. Because print and video are two different things, and sometimes you have great work, and then it's like, you're talking to the person and that just doesn't match the work, so, and it's hard for me too, because people told me I couldn't be a cubist, because, I'm black, or, 18, 19 years old and, trying to get in a gallery and everybody's European or whatever, and Cubism has been done. I'm like, it has been done. It hasn't been done my way. I haven't seen, like a Cubist version of Naomi Campbell or Tyra Banks or, some beautiful Black person, in Cubist form. I haven't seen it. And when I went to the museums, that's what I was looking for because everything else was a dime a dozen. Mm-hmm. So like, somebody else got talked out of fulfilling their dream. That's why I didn't see what I was looking for when I went to a museum. And I figured that out when I was 12. And I was like, I had the type of mother that was like, she just wouldn't accept failure. She was like, okay, you got a problem. What are you going to do about it? She didn't care, that I was 12, or whatever. She said she was going to help me, 50%. If I raised half the money for art lessons, she would pay the other, 50%, for you to go to like weekend classes at an art college. And then I get there and they're like, you're too young. You can't work with the models. Oh. And, so it's like, can I see a show of hands of how many people paid for their lessons with their art this week? Because I was the only one and everybody else was between 20 and 70. And I was like 11. And I paid my way with my art. So she was like, well, what are you going to do about that? And I was like, well, I guess I can, go get some history books and, look at figure and study that way. Because what it was, I would do posters, pop musicians, Motown, whatever. And then, people wanted their sun signs, but then they wanted more realistic figures. And I just didn't have the skills. So it was like, I started with the kids in my classroom, and then their older brothers and sisters, wanted superheroes. So I went from Zodiac to superheroes, and then they wanted like their sun signs painted realistically. And I was like, now I got to learn anatomy. And then their parents wanted stuff after that. So, everything was like a learning process. I went from one thing, I was like, oh, I'm at level 1. Then I get to level 2. Now it's like, I gotta learn something else. Mm-hmm. So it's like the same thing with the magazine. I've been painting all my life. Then I learned how to do websites and promote it on the website. And now, I want to promote it in print. So I gotta learn print. And now, I'm probably going to get into video and all of that too at this point.
Let me ask you a question. What I do notice is that a lot of people that I speak to who are entrepreneurs, one of the things that I do find in common with them is a lot of times their drive is because of some sort of rejection. Like, for instance, when somebody tells you you can't do something and you're like, wait a minute, I can't do that. Angie was talking about, makeup, people were, like, you're doing makeup, it's like the drive comes from that. Do you find yourself when somebody says, you can't do this, you're doing too much? Do you find yourself like, hold up, I'm about to do this? Do you find yourself doing that?
I mean, it's like a lot of people told me, no, you can't do this. I mean, even at an early age, but it's like, if I'm seeing it in my dreams, I know I'm supposed to do it. And then, let's just say, when she shoots pictures of protest, I mean, people are protesting something because somebody is telling them, they don't have the same rights or the same value, as somebody else. They don't deserve, to not be shot to death, at a traffic stop, or whatever, you're protesting that day. Somebody's saying you can't do what, you think you ought to be able to do for whatever reason. But it's other people's mindsets You can't let somebody else's idea of what you can't let people put their limitations, and their perception of you dictate your future. You have to challenge it, and you have to constantly, remind yourself, that why you're here. Are you here to fail? You have an idea that you need some, there's a problem and it needs to be fixed, and you're the one to do it. And that's at that point, when you realize, you've got to be the one to start something, then it just gets easier.
Mm-hmm.
I just don't accept, why would, you're black, you can't do this, you're 10, you can't do that. It's like you need to get it done. And then the more you believe that, the more likelihood that, you're going to make progress, whether you succeed in your lifetime or not. You need the one to be the one to start it. But it's like, I see a problem and I see the solution, is to start fixing it. And then at some point, I'll see it concluded. I'll see myself with a victory, even though it looks like, it can't be done. It's not that it can't be done, it's that it hasn't been done because everybody else that's encountered this problem has let it go. And they're like, oh, I'm too small, I'm too young, I'm too black, I'm too whatever. Just do it. If you're the person to do, to solve a problem, just start studying it and then start applying solutions until something works.
Just do it. Angie, I have a question for you. What advice? I'm sorry. Did you? Of course. I'm sorry. Answer the question that I just asked you before, but then I got another question for you.
Go ahead.
I didn't hear the question. It kind of faded out.
Okay. Basically, I'm going to combine two questions for you. Being a woman of color, what advice can you give anybody that comes to you and say, or being a woman, just being unlike what they're used to? What advice can you give to folks out there to say, hey, I'm doing this. This is me. This is what I'm going to try. What advice can you give people who are looking at you now?
I always believe in yourself and believe in your process. Are you going to have some good days and bad days? Yes. Eventually, if you stick and stay true to yourself, and being a woman, I definitely believe we have to stick with what we want. Not always what like Emmett said. Sometimes what may not be the right way, but there's a blessing out there, and you just have to find your blessings and don't be so quick to shut the doors, because learn from your failures and then to continue to progress. So you're talking to an old soldier, so I got a fighting spirit. And I'm a Scorpio. So that's like a double, and my two nieces are Scorpios. And so we got a bunch of Scorpios. For me, I like a good challenge. Mm-hmm. So a challenge to me means, was it done correctly? Maybe not. But what can I do better? Look for that process of improvement, because I think your improvement, but be true to yourself. Trust me, it's people that cracked up that were like, what are you doing with these self pictures? The avant-garde. They were like, what the heck is that? Why are you doing that? Who are you doing? And then I decided I was doing them for me. Like people ask me about the protest pictures. Well, who are you doing these pictures for? Me. I've even had other photographers, photographers are very rough, especially the ones that are pro and they've been doing this for 50 years, or, your color sucks, or, what lens are you using? What this and that? I was like, I don't know. I just picked up the camera and took some pictures, in the middle of a pandemic. And I went out and I was safe. And, that's interesting that we're bringing it up, because all these protests, and I got a protest partner. I don't know if she's watching, but you know you are a protest partner. So we did all the every Sunday. Like that was so happy to us because you had the pandemic, you had the protests, but every Sunday we were like, okay, we're gonna go protest. And people were like, stay in the house, you've been on lockdown, you're scared of getting sick, but every Sunday we were protesting. So and a matter of fact, I can't wait to go home and to Cali and get into a protest. Every time I went to the protest, I missed it. My little nephew's 7, and he says, I bought him a Black Lives Matter shirt. I'm sorry, had to get it for the kids. And he says, Auntie, I want to go protest for Black Lives. And I went. So,
yeah.
But
well, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, just do what you love. I think so many people get in their own way. I know people that love to cook. Well, if you love to cook, then cook. If you like to bake, then bake. Because if you hate the job that you're doing, but I do like my job, but you love something else, let it go. Like you like trees. And it's funny that you said that because I like flowers. So I used to shoot flowers. And then, yes, show the trees, girl. Show the trees. Yes. So you draw your trees, and I used to shoot flowers, but I shot flowers because I was afraid to shoot people. You know what I mean? I shot people, but I didn't think I was doing a good job compared to all these other. Stop comparing. That's another thing. Don't compare yourself to other people. Compare yourself to you. And I think that's the biggest thing that I hear people do is they compare themselves to somebody else. Mm-hmm. So if you like that tree, like the tree. If somebody else doesn't like it, okay. So that my advice would be to enjoy what you do and be proud of what you do.
Exactly. And that's what I get from Emmett's magazine. I
love it.
I love his magazine. I love your magazine. I get expression. I get freedom. I get everybody's viewpoint. I don't just get one narrow-minded viewpoint about that. I love it. I love the art that you have in back of you.
Yes.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. I love that art behind you.
Things I think are connected to visualization. It's like you have to see something before you actually have it. I think it's scriptural, but I'm not that deep into the Bible. But somebody bought me, another artist friend bought me a piece of plywood. It's like, I'm tired of running out of canvas all the time. I need something else to paint on. So I would do cardboard and plywood or whatever. So one of my friends found this giant, piece of plywood and nothing was on it. And I'm walking down the street and somebody has dropped a little flyer of Wynton Marsalis. And I was like, I would love to see this guy in concert.
Oh, wow.
Like I heard his, heard his jazz on PBS or something. So it's like, I couldn't really think of anything else that, was going to fit on that plywood. So I painted Wynton. And then I guess about 15 years later, for my 50th birthday, I got tickets to a Wynton concert. And it was just the best jazz I've ever heard live. But yeah, it's like I looked at this picture in my studio for 15 years, and then the next thing you know, I'm listening to the guy play.
Wow. Listen, I would love to have you guys. I'm going to invite you back. We're going to have part 2. Oh. We're going to talk about some more art and everything. I want to thank all the people who have tuned in. All the people that support you, that have tuned in. You guys are freaking fabulous. I see the messages that they wrote. There's one message here from it's from Jackie White. She wrote this. So listen, I don't have my glasses on. I'm hoping that it comes up here on my other screen. Hi. Thank you for recognizing Angie's art in your magazine, Jackie White. Hey, Mom. So I want to thank you guys for tuning in. We're going to start with Emmett first. You're going to tell us how people can get in touch with your magazines, how inspiring artists who would like to be associated with this magazine, how they can reach you, and then we'll go to Angie. Okay, go ahead, Emmett.
Okay, you can go to emmettmagazine.com. And then all the issues that are out are up there, and they got links to where you can buy them on Amazon. And then, publisher at emmettmagazine.com. If you have art that you want shown or what have you, I need to see it first. And then, I just want to say one last thing, and that's the photography and, as a matter of fact, what you're doing too, Dee, it's like it's documenting history, very important. I probably did 100 paintings, and before, one of my older friends told me, you need to be documenting these. Like, I was doing Polaroid pictures and like, get yourself a good camera. Polaroid's not going to be around. And then the next thing you know, 35 millimeter film is gone. I got drawers full of it. They can't be over. Anyway, document your work and share it as often as possible.
Yes. What about you, beautiful Angie?
I just love Miss Dee Dee. Hi, Mom. And just to be so sweet that Emmett and I talked about another collaboration, and I wanted to bring some other photographers on board as well. And I hope they don't kill me. I'm going to say their names: Lester Harvey and Cleve Mooring, and there's and I like Gloria. Gloria, you know who you are. So there's a couple of people that we're going to collaborate, and hopefully we can do more with Emmett. And I met some of his creatives in the magazine, and really nice young lady. And there's Lula Smith. I need to check her out. She's an artist in North Carolina in Hamilton. She's older. Yeah, she does folks art, and she paints on the wood and stuff. So you definitely need to contact her. She's
amazing.
You know Lula Smith?
I've heard about her, seen her stuff. Amazing.
Yes, I definitely got to get you guys in contact. But if you want to look at my stuff, I'm currently on Instagram and Pinterest, and I'm AWPhotos84_ on Instagram and AWPhotos84 on Pinterest. And I'm working on a website because for a long time I was in my own way. I didn't have a website, and so now I guess I need to get a nice website and put it out there. So I'm available. I do portraits, headshots, events, but I like creative the most. And I enjoy, as Emmett calls me, I'm a photojournalist. He gave me a style. I didn't even know I had a style. He said I was a street photographer and a photojournalist. And he said, you do good portraits too. So just kind of was like, I guess I need a style. So but that's how you can find me. And my email is on my Instagram account in case you want to email me personally to contact me. But yes, thank you, Emmett, for this opportunity, and thank you for putting me in the magazine. And before we go, Dee Dee, can I the cover? None of us have the magazine, right? The cover is my brother. My brother passed away unexpectedly. It's okay. 2 years ago. No, wait, is it 2 years? God, wow, it's almost 2 years now. And in September 2019. So I took that picture 5 days before he passed away. And it was so funny because we were in Atlanta in the museum, and I just said, look up and smile. And he growled, and then that's the picture I got. So it was no makeup, no nothing, that's me in the corner. And then that's my, there you go. And that's actually my brother, Steven. So I definitely want to, thank him and thank my family because I abused them first. So next week, my niece is pregnant. My niece Shine's pregnant. And so I have to do a maternity shoot. And she's probably the worst client ever. But she's in the magazine. So now all my nieces and family are running around the house like, don't take my picture because I might be in a magazine. So, but those are the other issues.
Oh, I love it. I love. Thank you for showing that. Oh my God.
Yes, show off 4 of them. Yes, show off 4 of them.
Yes, show it, honey. Show it. I love it. Amazing, amazing, amazing.
And I love that he does the front and the back of each photo.
Oh wow. I like the lady. She's got this big laughter. I like that.
Oh, which
yeah. And the funny part is Emmett and I we talk a lot on the phone, and he was going through the lady that looks like Billy Day. Billy Holly. I think he got motivated because he started drawing superheroes and other stuff and posting them. Did you tell her about Superman actually writing you on Instagram?
Oh, I did not. It was weird.
Wait a minute. You're going to wait until I'm about to end my show. Tell me about Superman? Oh my God. This is why, guys, I have to bring you guys back. I have to bring you back. This is, okay, we're going to call this, we're going to rename this Part 1, Part 2, I'm bringing you back. I'm bringing you back, okay?
All right, maybe we could get some other artists on here too.
Yes. Listen, bring them. I want to show it off.
Plugs.
Co-creator of Black Light, and a local artist, Marshall Lakes, has a story about like Comic-Con life, like experience Comic-Cons.
Ooh.
Okay.
I like cosplay. I have a love for steampunk.
We're just taking over her show.
I know, Dee
Okay. I'm enjoying myself. You guys are amazing.
Dee,
I
there's
want everybody to know that there's going to be a Part 2. We're going to talk about Superman. We're going to talk about Angie taking a picture of her pregnant sister. We're going to talk about all of that. If you guys, I want you to leave your comments, anything that we might have left out that you really wanted to hear. I want you to put it in the comments, and we're going to talk about all of that. And we're going to dedicate more than a half an hour. We're going to take a whole hour up on you guys.
we might do.
It's going.
I do have to say.
Go ahead.
I'm sorry, beautiful. I'm sorry. I'm smashing you. I'm sorry. We do have to talk about Carnival. I'm a Caribbean Carnival queen. I love Carnival.
Okay.
So Emmett wants to do like a whole magazine of my carnivals, but since COVID, I did get the Carnival last year, but this year it's hurting my heart. So
let me write this down. We're going to talk about Carnival because I'm happy
and steampunk.
Naked, so we're going to talk about Carnival, Superman, pregnant sisters, and everything. But until then, and in the meantime, I'm going to have to end this. I want to say you guys have by far been my most amazing guests. All my guests are amazing. If you guys would like to be a guest on my show, all you got to do is email a sister, theonlyddwalker@gmail.com. Let me know what your story is. You could be a singer, a dancer, a creative person, an activist, whatever you are, I give you the platform. This is your girl, DD Walker. You can find me on all social medias by just putting in The Only DD Walker. And please subscribe and follow me on my new YouTube channel, which is the DD Walker Live Show. And I'm on Thursdays on 106 TBC Radio, the DD Walker Live Show.
All right.
I love you guys. I love you, Mom. Thank you for responding. Everybody that responded. We're gonna get out of here. Bye, guys.
Thank you. Bye. Have a great night.